Welcome back to my kitchen. Jeremy the Machine Scott. Today I'm going to show you how to meal prep. It's very important that you set aside time every week to meal prep. If you're not meal prepping, then you're not going to see results. You can't wake up and just say, you know what, I'm going to try to eat healthier this week, or I'm going to stop at fast food restaurants and I'm going to get their healthy options, or I'm going to get the Impossible Burger from Burger King, or I'm just going to get a chicken salad from Chipotle that's loaded with thousands of milligrams of sodium. Those are not healthy options, okay? That's not how you get to your fitness goals. Today, I'm going to show you how to really get to your fitness goals. All right, so we're going to start with the basics. The first thing you need to do is make sure that you have some Tupperwares. These are the Tupperwares that I use for my meal prep. They're perfect sized. Boom, gotta have a food scale. If you don't weigh out your food, then you don't know what kind of portions you're eating. So you gotta be consistent. So today, we're gonna be cooking ground turkey with carrots and tomatoes, and we're gonna be cooking boneless, skinless chicken breast, pasta, and baked sweet potatoes. For our vegetables, we're gonna have broccoli and we're gonna have asparagus. Make sure you switch it up every week so you don't get bored, so you don't get burnt out eating the same thing over and over again. Use different seasonings, use different spices, use different sauces. There's tons of low fat, low sugar, very low in calorie sauces that you can use, and it makes your food taste amazing. So there's no reason and there's no excuse why you should not be eating clean. If you care about your body and you care about your health and you care about your physique, then you need to set aside time every week to meal prep. This is a lifestyle. Yes, it takes a little bit of time. Yes, it can get a little bit messy at times, but clean it up after. Big deal. Don't be lazy. Set aside time and meal prep. A lot of times we tend to make excuses to say, I don't have time to meal prep, or it takes too much time, or it's too much work. Wake up. If you want to get fit, if you want to look better, if you want to feel better, it's going to take a little bit of work and it's going to take a little bit of time. Actually, just kidding, not a little bit of time, not a little bit of work. I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but you're going to love the results and you're going to be glad when you finally get there. That's how you get better, and that's how you enjoy your life, and that's how you live a better life, by practicing a little bit of self-love and taking care of yourself, a little bit of time and dedication. All right, so as I get some of these veggies ready, first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the oven. I'm going to preheat it at 400, and then I'm going to prepare my chicken. We're going to bake it at 400 degrees. So if I fillet the chicken breast, it'll be about 35 minutes. If I don't fillet the chicken breast, which today I'm not, we're going to bake it for 40 minutes. Or you can use a meat thermometer and check the time, and make sure you cook it till it's at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure you cook your chicken to the right temperature, and don't overcook it, because if you overcook your chicken, it's gonna be dry and it's gonna taste like crap. So if you don't know what you're doing, I highly recommend getting a meat thermometer and make sure you cook it to just the right temperature, 165. Members Mark, boneless, skinless chicken breast with rib meat. Always fresh, never frozen, no added hormones or steroids, all natural. Honestly, I don't believe it, but we'll take them for their word. There's two kinds of ways to weigh out your food. You can either weigh it before it's cooked, if you want to be a little bit more accurate, or you can weigh it out after it's cooked. It's not that big of a deal, okay? Unless you're Mr. Olympia, unless you're Big Ramy, okay? Then you can weigh out your food. Or if you're Chris Bumstead, you weigh everything out to the exact point ounce. Point grams of everything. But if you're just trying to look good and be healthy, it's not that big of a deal. Weigh it out raw, weigh it cooked. It's not a big deal. If you notice, if you've seen some of my other videos, you see how I prep my chicken. I don't like this fatty stuff that's on here, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop that off. This little stuff on the side here as well, it's a little bit of tendon and connective tissue. I'm gonna cut this off as well. Slice it off here. Make your chicken taste good by letting it sit. It's a little bit of marinade. These are actually huge chicken breasts. These are huge. So as you see on the package, it says no hormones and no steroids, which is once again why I said I don't believe it, because look at the size of these things. These are, look at that. These are huge. This is like 2 inches thick. So these have probably been pumped up with who knows what. But we don't know what they put in our food. We just have to take people for their word and believe it, but you never know for sure. So I'm gonna actually fillet it. So I'm gonna push down on it and slide that knife through. If you're having a hard time cutting your food, what that means is, another thing too to look for in your chicken breast, if you notice right here in this chicken, we got this dark red spot. It's kind of nasty, it grosses me out. I noticed that sometimes when the chicken is darker red in color like that, it's a little bit more chewy. So you wanna watch out for chicken like that. Maybe I'll just cut that piece out and give it to my dogs. So push down on it, fillet it nice and evenly. So you see this, again, once again, we got all this fat on the chicken, I'm gonna cut it off. It just grosses me out. But you always gotta meal prep. Even if you leave, even if you go somewhere, even if you travel, take food with you. If you don't know how to eat healthy while you're traveling, check out my other video, how to eat healthy while traveling. We've got our, you can use these kind that goes in on the inside, or you can use the flat ones. Just know that if you cook your chicken, if you put a lot in here and it's too close together, it's not gonna cook as well. It's gonna take a little bit longer to cook versus if it's a little bit more spread out. You don't need oil, okay? If you put oil, olive oil, coconut oil, it's just extra fats and extra calories that you don't need, okay? So stop with all the oil. You don't even need cooking spray. Chicken has enough natural fats and juices that when you cook this chicken, it's gonna get all juicy and it's not gonna stick to the foil. So you don't need oil and you don't need cooking spray. So we're gonna use two different options. Today, I'm gonna use honey garlic seasoning, and I'm also gonna use garlic jalapeno seasoning. Once again, didn't I talk about variety and changing up your flavors? If you wanna be in this for the long run, if you wanna do this as a lifestyle, being healthy, eating clean, you gotta switch up your options. You're gonna burn out. Stop trying to be with that, I'm so hardcore, I just eat my food with no seasoning. I don't need seasoning on my food. I eat the same thing over and over and over every day. Yeah, come talk to me in 6 months to a year. Let me know how that's going. And boom, throw it on the other. You don't want to have the chicken too scrunched up like this. Just keep it just a little bit spaced apart. Trust me, it's gonna cook better like that. If there's some pieces that are thicker than the others, put the thicker pieces on the outside and put the thinner pieces on the inside of the tray, because the thicker pieces on the outside are gonna cook faster than the pieces that are more thin. Nice and symmetrical. All right, so our chicken is now ready to put in. Our oven's at now 400. So once again, we filleted the chicken breast, so I'm only gonna cook it for about 35 minutes. So for your vegetables, you can put down foil. You don't have to. You don't need oil, and you don't even need cooking spray. The vegetables have enough moisture on its own, so don't mess around with the oil. So as you can see, this broccoli here it's already kind of thick, it's very chunky. Nobody wants to eat like a big piece of broccoli like that, so we're gonna cut it up a little bit. So if your broccoli's too big, just cut it up. We're eating the right foods, so you're fighting disease and you're fighting sickness. Remember that. You're dedicating a little bit of time to meal prepping. You're dedicating time to be better, to fight disease and fight sickness. High blood pressure, cholesterol, stroke, diabetes, cancer. Eat right. Eat the right foods and just meal prep. It's worth it, trust me. So here is the thing about asparagus. So with asparagus, the bottom part, if you cook the bottom part, it's gonna be nasty, it's too chewy. So if you grab it towards the bottom and just crank down on it, it's gonna break exactly where it needs to break. Okay, so next question is, what do you season your vegetables with? Today we're gonna season it with a little bit of lemon pepper. Boom, just like that, nice and easy. We're gonna put the vegetables in the oven with the chicken as it's cooking, but be careful, because if you put a lot of things in the oven all at the same time, the chicken might not cook as fast. Or if you have some other kind of meat in there, like fish or turkey, steak, whatever it is you have in the oven, if you put a bunch of baked potatoes and vegetables, the chicken or whatever you have, it's gonna slow down the cooking time. So we're gonna let those vegetables cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. If you overcook them, if you make them too soggy, when you put them in your Tupperwares and keep them in your fridge, after about 3 to 4 days, they're gonna start to get nasty and funky, and you don't want that. So leave them a little bit crispy, because when you microwave your food and reheat it, it's gonna finish cooking the vegetables anyways. First thing that I like to do is get the sweet potatoes peeled and get that skin off. You can eat them with the skin or without the skin. Sometimes When I'm feeling a little bit lazy, I want to take a shortcut, I'll leave the skin on. You got to put a little bit of muscle into it. Okay, so best method for baked sweet potatoes, in my opinion, you can either season them with cinnamon if you want a sweeter taste, or you can season them like with regular garlic, salt, and pepper. It's up to you, your choice. Try different things, try to switch it up, see what you like best. Once again, so you don't get burnt out on eating the same thing over and over again. I'm trying to show you how to adapt to this healthy way of eating so you can keep it as a lifestyle. Long-term weight loss, or long-term just maintaining and just staying healthy, not even necessarily weight loss. Your goal could be gaining muscle and just keeping your body fat at a reasonable level, staying lean, but staying healthy long-term for life. Not just a 30-day fast weight loss thing or a crazy extreme weight loss trying to get ready for a certain event. How about just stay ready? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, so stay ready. 1-inch cubes or about 2-inch cubes. I'm gonna add a little bit of regular cinnamon. We're gonna get it all mixed up. So there we are. I like to make them a little bit crispy, let them bake till they get a little bit brown, and it tastes really, really good. Make sure that you're careful not to put too much together on one tray. I like mine to be a little bit crispy. So, all right, so it's been about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. Make sure you use timers. Sometimes I think I'm gonna remember something, like the vegetables are in there, they're cooking, I'll remember to get them out, and then you forget, and then you burn your food and your meal prep is screwed. So make sure you use timers, use as many timers as needed to avoid burning your food. Burn your food, you're gonna have a meal prep disaster, so you don't want that. It's a little bit frustrating. You're already putting time and effort into it. The last thing you want is to screw this up, so don't screw it up. So our vegetables are out of the oven, and I'm now gonna put the baked sweet potatoes inside the oven, and I have to set a second timer for 40 minutes. Hey Alexa, set a timer for 40 minutes. Okay, so we got our vegetables out. Baked yams are cooking. We got them on a timer. And our chicken has 14 minutes left. So now we're gonna get to our ground turkey and our pasta, and then we're done. It's that easy, so we're almost done. This took me about under an hour. Some rotini, regular pasta, and some penne pasta. We're just gonna mix them together. Get the water boiling, throw them in for about 11 minutes. It's very easy. You don't have to be a chef. You don't have to know how to cook. It's easy to do. Anybody can meal prep. So we've got our water boiling for our pasta, and we're gonna turn our ground turkey. Did you touch my turkey? Don't touch my turkey. Did you touch my turkey? Huh?
No, I haven't touched your turkey.
Don't touch my turkey. Okay, people in this house like to touch my turkey. You gotta watch them. Keep a close eye on people who want to touch your turkey. These people are sketchy. Anybody that tries to touch your turkey, you better watch that person real close. Okay, anyways, so we got 2.5 pounds of turkey. Don't touch my turkey. All right, so we're gonna cut this open. We're gonna cut the carrot up. The reason why I like to put carrots in my turkey is because the carrots, it changes up the texture and it changes up the flavor of the turkey. You can do carrots, you can do eggplant, whatever you want. You can eat unlimited vegetables. That's a good thing about vegetables. You can eat just about as many as you want with little to no consequence. So I highly recommend adding vegetables to your food. And vegetables have so many different micronutrients, not macronutrients. We're not talking about macros here, we're talking about micros. Vitamins and minerals, okay? So you're getting a lot of vitamins and minerals. There's anti-inflammatories in some of these. There's anti-cancers in some of these. Cancer-fighting agents in some of these. So, make sure you add this stuff in. Tomatoes, cilantro, eggplant. Just mix it up. That's how you make your food taste good. And if you guys ever get bored of just regular old meal prep, you can eat some of my low calorie, low fat recipes. I have my healthy lasagna and I have healthy cheesecake. So if you haven't tried those yet, you're missing out. So same thing with the turkey. You just want to make sure that you cook it all the way through. I like to keep it chopped up as I'm cooking because I like the texture better that way. If you notice these lines in it, so some people just throw their turkey in there and let it cook. This just grosses me out. I don't like the texture. I don't like eating it like that. So I make sure that my turkey is nice and chopped up. Today we're going to use curry powder, chili powder, garlic, salt, and a little bit of lemon pepper. Don't want to be too excessive with your seasoning. With your spices like curry powder, chili powder, you can add a little bit more because there's no salt, there's no sodium. But the other stuff like lemon pepper, you're going to be a little bit more careful and not overdo it, because if you're taking in too much sodium, it can cause you to retain a little bit of water, and it's just not good for you, so be careful with that. I tried different combinations and I always season my food differently. This is how you stay on a healthy eating plan. I keep trying to tell you that, but you don't listen. There's no certain amount. It's all personal preference. If you like a lot of tomatoes, put a lot of tomatoes. If you like a little bit, put a little bit. If you like a lot of cilantro in there, put a lot of cilantro. Spinach, cilantro, kale. I'm giving you ideas here so you can mix it up and stay on your meal plan and stay in shape all year round. Stop going out eating fast food. Stop eating all the junk. Stop eating out at all the restaurants. Stop grabbing something on the way. Keep it clean. So make sure that turkey is cooked all the way through. No more pink. Alright, so our chicken is now finished. It's a little bit crispy on the outside, just slightly. And the inside is probably just at about 165, possibly a little bit more. Alright, so our turkey is pretty much done. So as you can see, our water is now boiling. And remember, don't forget to set your timers. Hey Alexa, set a second timer for 11 minutes.
Second timer, 11 minutes, starting now.
Okay. As you're cooking your pasta, you have to stir it around a little bit as you're cooking it. Because if you don't stir it around, it's gonna all stick together. Nobody likes sticky pasta. So next step with the turkey, I'm gonna put it into this strainer because it's got a lot of juice that comes off of it. Some people like it with all that juice. I personally don't. There's probably extra grams of fat in there that you don't need. Some of the juice is from the vegetables and the tomatoes too, probably. Okay, so our pasta is now done. We did 11 minutes, and I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna pour it to the strainer. Okay, baked sweet potatoes are now done. Just a little bit under 40 minutes. Make sure you check on them, because based off of what you have in the oven, sometimes they cook a little bit faster than others. So as you can see, a little bit crispy. Okay, so we've got our chicken. I took it out of the oven. I let it cool next to the window for about 20 minutes. The reason why you want to let the chicken cool off before you cut it up, because if you cut up the chicken while it's still hot, all the moisture and all the steam is going to escape out of the chicken breast, and you're going to be left with some nasty, dry chicken. So you don't want that. So I'm going to use a glove on one hand and a knife in the other. You don't have to use a glove unless you're cooking for somebody else, but if you're cooking for yourself, the reason why I like to use a glove, I just don't like the feeling of all this chicken stuff all over my hands. So I'm gonna use a glove today. Got our food scale. I'm going to put it onto, not grams, you can do grams if you want, just be consistent, it doesn't matter. If Don't worry about the small details. Being consistent is more important. Some people like using grams because they feel it's more accurate. Some people like using ounces. So we're gonna go ahead and put, so once you put the Tupperware on, it's actually gonna add a little bit. So we're gonna hit tare so we can bring it back to 0. So we're gonna go ahead and put 5 ounces, somewhere around 5. Once again, not a big deal. So what to do if you have a little bit extra over. You're measuring all your Tupperwares out and you're putting 5 ounces in each one, and then you have 3 ounces left or 2 ounces left and you don't know what to do with it. You can break up those 3 ounces evenly or into littler pieces and just spread it evenly over all the other Tupperwares of chicken. Or you can just eat it. Not a big deal. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and add in our vegetables. Add broccoli, half with broccoli, and the other half with asparagus. So here we have our chicken. We got our other option, chicken with broccoli. Five ounces of chicken and got about 5 ounces of baked sweet potatoes. If you notice, I didn't put the sweet potatoes on the food scale because I'm able to measure it out. I've done it so many times. I've been doing this for 15 years, so I know what 5 ounces of baked sweet potatoes looks like. So boom, there it is. Pasta, we use a measuring cup. We don't really use the food scale. That's just my personal preference. I know it can be off just a little bit, give or take. It's not that big of a deal. Don't make the nutrition thing more complicated than it already is. But the turkey, we will put it on the food scale and measure it out. And we're taking into account that it has a little bit of vegetables in it, some carrots and some tomatoes and onions. So we're actually gonna add a little bit more than what we want, which is 5 ounces. We're gonna add about 5.5 ounces. Right around there, give or take. About consistency. It's not about being overly obsessive with the 0.5 ounce, unless you're prepping for a show and you're a bodybuilder. Then you can get a little bit more into the small details of the grams and the 0.5 ounces. But if you're just going for general health, don't complicate it, trust me. If you want to do this long term and be in this for the long run, don't give yourself a headache that you don't need. Some asparagus. And then we've got Classico pasta sauce, 410 milligrams of sodium. It's a little bit high, in my opinion, that's okay. That's why we work out, do cardio, drink water. Don't worry about it. 8 grams of carbs, 5 grams of sugar, still pretty low, 2 grams of protein. Serving size is 1/2 cup. I like to put a little bit less than 1/2 cup, so we're gonna go ahead and put 1/4 cup. And to top it off, a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. Still only 20 calories and 2 tablespoons. We're barely gonna put a tablespoon on there. 1.5 grams of fat, 0 carbohydrates, 0 sugar, and 2 grams of protein. Let's get it. All right, and there we have it. So we got 2 options for the next few days. I got chicken, it's all weighed and measured out, and baked sweet potatoes, a little bit of cinnamon. And then we've got pasta, 1 cup of pasta, 5 ounces of lean ground turkey, and asparagus. So I'm gonna eat these meals. I'm gonna eat 6 meals per day. Okay, maybe one of the meals will be fresh cooked, like my dinner, which is probably gonna be fish, and no carbs at night, no carbs before bedtime. I like to eat my fish fresh. You can still meal prep fish, that's fine. I just prefer to have it fresh. And then my breakfast, I also prefer to have that freshly cooked as well. So my breakfast is normally, as you know, if you've been watching my videos, it's the same thing every day. It's either egg whites and old-fashioned oats or egg whites and cream of rice. So this is how we get results. You gotta stay consistent. This barely took me a little bit over an hour. It's not that hard. If you're not meal prepping, if you're saying you don't have time, those are just excuses. You can either have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both, unfortunately. I know that excuses feel good, they feel good in the moment, but in the end, all you're doing is screwing yourself. That's all you're doing. You're shooting yourself in the foot by making excuses. Excuses are lies wrapped up inside of reasons. You think they're legit. Sometimes it's a very, very good excuse, but no matter how good of an excuse it is, no matter what it's about, at the end of the day, it's still an excuse. And if you're making excuses, even if they're good excuses, you can't get results. This is why your body won't change, because you keep making excuses. Get it done. Set aside time and meal prep. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like button down below. Leave your questions and comments below as well. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Until next time, Jeremy the Machine Scott out.